Hey, what's going on, guys? Bring your friends here. Today I wanted to give you guys a build of my character on Path of Exile. It is a 87 Scion currently. It is my first cast on crit build that I've ever made, and I've been having so much fun with it, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. So first off, it is a bow build that utilizes a crap ton of crit, a lot of projectile damage, and so on. So let's just get into it. So first off, if you're just leveling up with the character, you will only need a 3 link to start, and basically that's just going to consist of barrage, cast on critical strike, and then the third one is essentially whatever damage dealing spell you want to put out. Mine was Arctic Breath, and then you just build yourself up from there. Once you get past a 3 link, I would say the fourth should be either another damage dealing or either actually no, the fourth would be probably greater multiple or lesser multiple, whatever you can get your hands on, because since greater multiple projectiles adds more projectiles equals more times to be able to crit, and more crit is more damage. So definitely get your hands on GMP for your fourth. For your fifth, I would just add on just more damage and then more damage again for your sixth. Now, as far as the gear goes, one thing that you'll really have to look out for is, for the most part, when you're trying to get a 6 link or 4 link or 5 link or whatever the case may be, base critical strike chance is basically your best friend. Like, the more critical strike chance overall you have on the bow, mine is 8.55, the better off you will be overall. Now, another way you can cheat this is to get yourself a Val's Protector, and that way you gain a power charge for each enemy you hit with a critical strike, and then you can just go into your tree and go for like Fused, for example, which is more maximum power charges, etc. So another main item that you need, that in my opinion that'll do tons of damage, is Rigwald's Quills. And the main thing you're looking for on this is the projectiles fork. Now, the reason why this is so important is because the fork on this quiver does not lessen your damage like the gem that you would just socket to your gear. So that's huge. So currently I have Arctic Breath, Spark, Fireball, Cast and Critical Strike, Barrage, and Greater Multiple in my 6 link. Also, it needs to be noted that I'm using the Volley Fire, which is increased projectile damage, but the additional 2 projectiles simultaneously on the first and final attacks, which isn't into the tooltips, so I added that on myself when it came to how many projectiles I was actually getting on screen at a time. And as far as in the tree, you're just going for projectile damage, crit damage, and King of the Hill is pretty important too, because 80% increased critical strike chance with bows, and knockback enemies if you get a critical strike chance, which happens quite often. And the fact that I have this jewel, which is 5% chance to knock back enemies on hit. So not only will I knock back on the physical attack from Barrage, but I'll also have a chance to knock back on any one of my spells that I output with, which is Spark, Fireball, or Arctic Breath has a chance to knock back as well. So basically you're going for arrow dancing, acrobatics, phase acrobatics, bunch of crit, life, crit, going up here, getting cold-hearted calculation, which is decent spell damage, mana regen, nullification, sniper, which is increased projectile damage and speed. But the great thing about cast and crit is you can stack so much damage, and obviously you guys know this game's been on a long time, but you don't really have to worry about having a large mana pool, because you only have to worry about being able to essentially cast Barrage. And then everything that you crit with Barrage is essentially free. It doesn't cost any mana to do any of that. So I actually did the math, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is basically what I got so far. So Arctic Breath tooltip is 5, Fireball tooltip is 5, and then Spark, which I'm using for essentially the shock damage, is 11. Now, opened up a notepad. So on a single arrow crit, Spark is 11 plus Fork is 22. Arctic Breath equals 5 projectiles plus fork equals 10. Fireball, same thing, which equals up to 42 projectiles on 1 crit. Current arrow count on 1 attack of barrage equals 8, plus barrage gem equals 12 arrows total per attack. So the maximum projectile count if every attack crits and every single projectile forks equals 504 projectiles, which is pretty fucking insane. So let's get it started. I might as well show you a map. I think I have like a level 6, which ain't too bad. Elemental equilibrium, 27% more monster life, blah 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 blah. Also should be noted, so my 4 link in here is just increased area effect, blasphemy, and then I use either Warlord's Mark or Temp Chains depending on the situation. And then in here is just a 4 link of Immortal Call, cast and damage take, increased duration, and phase run. The gear is pretty good. It's nothing too spectacular. It's just triple resist with increased evasion, good life. This one is also triple resist with good life and increased movement speed. This is double resist, good life, crappy armor, Val's Devotion, and the Harmony Amulet, which gives decent crit chance. So, that being said, let's get into the map and then I'll show you guys what this can do. Also, I should mention that this ain't for the faint-hearted when it comes to decreasing your FPS. So you can imagine what 500 projectiles on screen does when you crit quite a bit. So it's quite laggy even for me. It's like a 73 map, nothing too crazy or spectacular, but still pretty crazy nonetheless. I mean, look at that shit. It's just so fun. Like, I don't know. Definitely quantity over quality for the most part, but it doesn't matter because you are critting so much that it doesn't matter that they do not significant damage overall, but you have so much crit that it doesn't matter. Like, the screen just gets wiped. And obviously you can put anything in your 3 link. I've experimented with quite a few things. I've actually done, instead of Arctic Breath and Spark, I replaced the 3rd. So instead of Fireball, I put Cold Snap, which actually worked quite well because it was essentially there for a CC element, even though it didn't benefit from the fork, which was quite nice. Sometimes I even have to tone down on how often I shoot just because it lags my FPS quite a bit. I'm running like a NVIDIA GTX 760, so I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. I mean, the card's not bad, but definitely nowhere like super top tier. I would say one of the weaknesses to this build is just the low overall life pool. Like, I only have like 3,700 health. What you could do in order to mitigate or get rid of that weakness per se is instead of having 3 things as damage dealers in your 6 link, if you do get one, you could just literally get rid of the Val's Protector and then get Power Charge and Critical and essentially have the same amount of crit. It's just wouldn't be as wouldn't be as much. So this goddamn proximity shield. But what is my crit right now? Right now, I better kill these guys. Do 44% with Spark. 43 with Fireball, so essentially the same thing. And then with my Barrage, it is a 79.34 chance to crit. I believe the max crit, correct me if I'm wrong, is 85%. It's been a while. It's actually been like a week since I've logged on. I should have done this video sooner, but I'm pretty sure 85 is max crit, so pretty close to max crit. And it doesn't, I'm not really too afraid of reflect mobs But reflect maps is kind of problematic just because it's just a lot of overall sustained damage that you're taking. You probably could get away with it if you're ballsy about it, but I would just rather steer clear of reflect. But the good thing about it is that even though you have a lot of crit, but you don't have a lot of multiplier, so which is one of the reasons why you survive during it, because it's not really any single one of your projectiles is doing mad damage. It's just the overall that's threatening. So if all of them crit, or if all of them hit a reflect mob, then you're pretty fucked. But since there's so many projectiles, the damage is kind of split. And obviously a lot of projectiles are missing most of the targets, but they're still dying anyways. So I'm trying to find the boss or whatever. Not sure if I'll stick this through. If I find the boss. Hopefully I'll find it quick. Such lag. Much wow. This is so fun. I don't know what it is about just like you're seeing your entire screen full of projectiles. It's very it's very rewarding. Even though like I play with my buddy all the time, my friend Josh, and he absolutely fucking hates it because he can barely play the game when I'm with him, and I don't blame him either. I'd be pretty pissed too if I was on the receiving end of this bullshit. So. I think that was the boss. But yeah, hopefully you guys got a somewhat of an idea of how it works. If you have any questions, leave it down below, and I will answer it for you the best I can. Hopefully my math isn't off, otherwise I'd look like a complete jackass. This is Countless. Bring your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.